Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear us and see us. This is kind of our first time using GoToWebinar. So apologies if we're kind of clunky through it. There's a questions box where you guys can ask questions. And then there's also a chat box. But specifically, if you have like 811 related questions, then put them in the questions box, because we are going to be compiling all the questions that you guys have today and the questions that you guys had in our last peer-to-peer back in December. We're going to be creating a frequently asked questions sheet for you guys, because we know that we have a lot of the same questions that come up. So we're going to be creating a tool for you guys in the future. So any questions that you guys have along the way, feel free to post that in the questions box. This session is being recorded, so we should have this video available up on YouTube within a couple of days in case you guys want to send this to anyone that wasn't able to attend today. And we'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Caitlin Devlin. I am the waiting list lead for the Section 811 program with excuse me, my partner here today is Catherine Cole. She's our program administrator. We have a couple of topics that we have already planned for this session, and then we're going to leave the last bit of this for any questions that we didn't address or any topics that we didn't address, but please feel free as we're presenting to just put those questions in the chat box. Okay, so if I can get my PowerPoint to start working. Here's just a couple of things that we're going to be going over today from my half of the presentation. So the status of the 811 wait lists and kind of what's going on with our wait lists right now. I'm going to be going over details of our damage funds. Just going to briefly go over transfers. I know Catherine's going to be going over recertification process and termination of assistance. And then, of course, we're going to have our Q&A, our time for questions at the very end of this. So right now, the status of our Section 811 wait lists, we have a concentration of properties in these areas in Texas. They're mostly focused in the really large MSAs. Coming up this Friday, we are actually going to be closing the wait lists in Hidalgo County and Cameron County, except for 2 properties that we have in Hidalgo County. What this means is it's no action items for you guys as property managers or developers and owners. It's mostly a message for the folks that make referrals to our program. Basically, the properties that we have down in this area, we have a ton of applicants waiting in line. And so in order to prevent those guys from not waiting for years and years before their name comes up to the top of the wait list, we're going ahead and closing those wait lists so that no one else can be added to those wait lists. We want to focus on the folks that are already there so we can get them housed. So that's coming up this Friday. And then we're also going to be reopening a handful of properties across the state. So we've got 3 in Austin, 2 in Corpus Christi, 2 in Dallas, 2 in El Paso, 4 in Fort Bend, and then we have 9 in San Antonio. Just a quick look, you might see one of your properties or your property on this list. Again, there's no action item for you guys on this. There's nothing that y'all have to do or worry about, basically. What's happening is that we've run out of applicants. I'm sure some of y'all have emailed me and said, hey, we've got this 2-bedroom available, or we've got this 3-bedroom available. And I said, well, we're going to go ahead and return that unit back to you, and you can go ahead and fill that with one of your non-811 applicants. So these properties, we have run out of applicants for specific bedroom sizes. Some of them we've run out of applicants for all bedroom sizes. Most of these properties, we have run out of applicants that will fit in a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, and a 4-bedroom. We have a ton of single household applicants on our wait list, meaning these are just folks that it's just that one adult in the family, so they're only needing a 1-bedroom. And so these properties, we're going to be reopening the wait list specifically just for those larger bedroom sizes, so that we can fit folks that either it could be a single person that has a live-in aid, so they need that extra bedroom space for the live-in aid. Mostly it's going to be for larger families, single parents with kids, adult and children, or just, larger families, roommates, things like that. So again, no action item for you guys on y'all's end, but just letting you know that I might actually have some more referrals for y'all, which is really exciting for us because it really stinks for us to have to give away some units. A lot we, of course, love to house our 811 applicants, and now we'll have more, and hopefully we'll have more fresher referrals. I know I give y'all sometimes I give you a list of applicants and you just cannot reach anyone on those lists. So reopening this wait list will allow fresher referrals and faster vacancy filling. Okay. Moving on to our damage funds. So our damage funds, just real quick before I go over what's on the screen, our damage funds is funding that we receive through HHSC through something called Money Follows the Person grant. This was awarded to us towards the end of 2020, so it's relatively new, and we're just kind of starting to get more traction with it. And so we really wanted to touch base on it now because we've got money to spend for these costs. So damage funds are available to any Section 811 resident. I should have said household. It's going to be any Section 811 household because it's only going to be a payment per that household. So this can be folks that are either currently housed and they've racked up damages to their unit, or it's going to be folks who are moving out, and after move out, it's discovered that they have damages to their unit. So we can make up to $3,000. We can make up to a $3,000 payment in damage reimbursement costs per household. I guess I did put it on there. So this can be applied to, again, if they're still living there or if they're moving out. Right now, we can only go up to $3,000. We're kind of in the talks of potentially increasing that amount. We discovered it might take a little bit more paperwork to get that done, but right now it's just at the $3,000. And so properties, you must first cover the expenses associated with the repair of damage by drawing from the tenant's security deposit or other funds provided by or on behalf of the tenant, meaning that you have to show that their security deposit was deducted from all of the damages that you have racked up and have invoices for. Okay, so what we can and cannot pay for. So these are typically the damages that we can cover are going to be a little bit more excessive damages, just anything that's above the normal wear and tear for the unit. So if you look at this table here on the right, these are going to be gaping holes, drawings on the wall that the owner did not approve, chipped or gouged wood floors, doors that have been ripped off hinges, broken windows. You can go down this list here. We have done damage reimbursements for fires that have happened. We've had fires in kitchens that ruined cabinets, and we've been able to pay for that. There's been a couple fires that we've had recently, and so if you have anything like that or anything that's happened before, feel free to apply for these damage funds. But we can't pay for things that are going to be above, at the normal wear and tear. So if you have if you're replacing the carpet as just like a routine replacement, we wouldn't be able to pay for things like that. We can't pay for rent, unpaid rent. The damage funds specifically do not allow us to pay for anything that is rent related. We can't replace keys as well. But I think those are kind of the two most common ones that we do see on damage requests. So no rent, no key replacement, nothing like that, but we can do like broken windows, burn damages, things like that. Okay, so what to submit is in this GoToWebinar. Again, this is our first time using it. So there should be a tab that you guys can see that says handouts on it. If you kind of click down there, you'll see there's a PDF and an Excel sheet that's in there. And you should be able to, I believe, click and download that. If not, these are listed on our website where you can find these forms. So what to submit when you're wanting to request damage funds is fill out this Excel sheet that's going to have all of the amounts on there. On the PDF, you're going to have the very last page. You're going to have to sign that certifies it. This can be the property manager can sign it, or anyone who's kind of being the liaison for the damage fund. A copy of the tenant's HUD lease is needed because this is going to show what their deposit amount is. We're going to need evidence that the security deposit was applied to the debt. That will be included in the Excel sheet, so you can just type those numbers in. Next, we're going to need a list of itemized damages and costs to repair each. Then we're also going to need before and after photos. If the damages haven't been repaired yet, or if they're in the process of still being repaired, we can accept the after photos once the damages are completed. So just know that, you know, if you have something that's like currently being repaired right now, you don't have the after photos, then that's okay. And then lastly, all of these forms, once you have them all put together, you can submit them through the TDHCA portal. That's the ServView, the server. It has a bunch of different names. But you can submit that through the portal, and then, or you can send it to us via email at 811info. Sometimes when you have all of these documents put together, it can make really large file sizes. And so sometimes it's too big to send through an email. So you can always just upload it through the portal, and then typically we'll get a notification that something's been uploaded to the portal, but shoot us an email and just let us know, hey, this has been submitted, and then we can go in and take a look at it. So yeah, so that is our damage funds. Let's see. I see some questions in here.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So how would we apply the deposit on a current household? That is going to be in that Excel sheet. I wish I could pull it up, but I don't have it on here. So you would apply that there, and then after they move out, you just need to note that basically that deposit has already been exhausted because it was used during the damage or during the repairs for those damages. So just know that if they do move out, then they basically have lost that deposit, and you can't use that amount towards anything else. Is the drawing the security deposit after move out or still while living in the apartment? Right, it's still while living there. What about if they did not report the fridge was not working for a while and we had to replace with a new fridge? And what if the unit had an infestation? Can we submit a payment for pest control? Absolutely, yes. Yeah, if they have already moved out, sorry, one second, I'm just making sure if you put that they had moved out or not. Yes, well, let me just answer. So yes, for pest control, absolutely. Yep, you can send a damage request for that. In fact, I think we just had one recently for that, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, as long as you can show us the invoices for that, if you have before and after photos for that as well, then yes, you can do that. And that would be covered under damage funds. What about trashing out the unit left by a tenant? Yes, so we can pay for the labor that your maintenance folks might have done, or if you hired a third party to come out and clean the unit, we can do a reimbursement for that. Depending on how much it is, just keep in mind that it is up to $3,000. So we can go absolutely up to that $3,000. So if you had maybe a $10,000 charge for something, unfortunately, we can only pay that $3,000, but that is definitely something that we can also cover. If the carpet is being replaced due to the lifespan and damages of the carpet, does that still not apply? Typically, if you were already going to replace the carpet, then that would not apply. But if the carpet is being replaced because the tenant might have, you know, got a bunch of stains on it, maybe there's burn marks in it, maybe they tore up portions of it. If the damage to the carpet was done by the 811 tenant, then that would be something that we could cover. But if it's just a standard carpet replacement, that would be considered normal wear and tear, and that would not be covered by the damage funds. Okay, next question is, 811 new move-in after 6 months, reported bed bug is eligible for reimbursement for damage fund. Possibly so. Yeah, if you just send us that information, we'll take a look at it. I think more than likely that would be something that we could cover. So yeah, I think that would definitely count. And I apologize. I don't know if y'all can see these questions or not, so I'm just making sure that I repeat them out loud, just so that we answer them. But yeah, again, we'll take all these questions and put them in FAQ so that you can go back and see the answers to them as well. Okay, before I move on to the next quick thing, is there any more questions? I don't see any, but yeah, let us know if you have any. Okay, unable to see the questions. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So yes, we'll make sure that we repeat the questions out loud so y'all know what other folks are asking. Next, and moving on. But yeah, if y'all have any questions, oh, hang on, let me go back before I. Okay, 1 second. Will this clear if the total damages is $10,000 and you paid $3,000? Will we be able to claim the balance, or will this clear the balance? So in other words, will we be able to claim the balance? That is a good question. I'm not 1,000% sure. That is a good question. I want to say, what do you mean by claim the balance? I'm not quite sure if I understand what that means. But Kathy, since you asked the question, let me find more information from you and then I'll find out. But I want to say that basically, if we cannot cover all of the damages caused by the tenant, then that would have to be put back on the tenant, you know, and then I know it would eventually go to a collection agency. So if that's what you mean, then yes, you would have to claim that remaining balance. Can we be provided a copy of the slides? Yes, I'll send out a copy of the slides, and then we'll also have this recorded and put on YouTube as well. How many times can you submit a claim for the same resident? We can only pay up to $3,000 per resident. So let's say they have a broken window 2 months into their lease, you know, we can pay for that. And then when they move out, they have $1,000 worth of damages, then we would be able to pay that. So it's only up to $3,000 per household. So you can apply for it basically at any time or in multiple times, but we would cap it at that $3,000. Okay, thank you, Kathy, for clarifying. Okay, and then, let's see, we have another one. Are we requesting the reimbursement to y'all if they don't have a deposit? Yes. Or do we have to attempt to collect from them first and then reach out to y'all? No, you can reach out to us first. So basically this person is asking, you know, do we have to ask the tenant to pay it? And then if they say, no, I can't pay it, then can we ask THCA? We would love to pay it at first because obviously, you know, our tenants are of low income. So it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to pay off all of these damages. So you can come to us first and then we can pay that off. Their deposit would be taken off or go towards the damages first. If they had which is going to be $50 at least, because folks, 811 tenants, their deposit is going to be $50 or their TTP, TPP, sorry. So it'll be at least $50 that's going to be taken off of there. And then, yes, we can pay that before you ask them to pay it. And then they would be responsible for that remaining portion. Okay. And then can we claim the damages throughout their lease until we reach the $3,000 or wait until they move? Good question. You can, again, you can do it while they're still being housed. Or if you want to wait until they move out, you can do that as well. However y'all want to approach it. We've got the money, so you can apply for it at any time. I would probably recommend in the off chance that, but also like, you know, it's possible chance that we might lose the funding for the damage funds. You know, this is a grant that was given to us through the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. So it's possible that they could take away this funding. We don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, but there is just the off chance that we'll lose that funding. And so let's say, you know, that person lives there for 5 years and you don't apply for the damage funds until they move out. I would highly recommend you apply for the damages now so that we can pay for them now versus them later. And how long will it take to get the payments? It usually varies, but no more than a month or two, I would say. And sometimes we get them in there pretty quickly. It's interesting about the payments, they'll actually just kind of show up as a direct deposit, and they might kind of look like this random payment that comes in that doesn't have a specific title, because basically what TDHCA's finance department does is they'll just wire it to the direct deposit of the property. So just be on the lookout for that payment. Look out for that specific amount that you've requested, and whenever you get your vouchers, I believe is when, not your vouchers, but whenever it'll just kind of show up as a direct deposit. So, okay. I want to move on just because we're already kind of at the 10:20 mark, but any other questions about damage, I will definitely feel free to keep putting them in the questions box, and I'll respond to them by typing to them while I have Catherine present on her topics. And then I have one last thing to present on, and just our transfer policy. This is a question that we get a lot, and a lot of confusion we get about. We went over this at our last peer-to-peer. So there is no transfer policy from one development to another. So tenants must reapply for the Section 811 program in order for them to move from one property to another property. That would require them to get on the wait list and wait out the time it takes for them to reach the top. You know, they would have to submit a 30-day notice to you guys that they're moving. But we can do transfers within the current development. So a lot of folks get confused. They think that maybe that Section 811 tenant is just tied to that one unit. If folks have like an increase in their household size, let's say they had a baby, or maybe they had twins, you know, or maybe they've taken over custody of a family member, then, and now they need a 2-bedroom, or they want to go from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom, then that is a doable transfer. Literally the only thing that we'll need to know is the new unit number that they're in once they moved into that unit. It might get a little sticky when it comes to our unit mix. So I think at a majority at our property, we've got like, I think on average we have 10 units at each property. I know some of y'all have like 20, and there's other folks that have like 4. So let's say scenario, we have 2 bedrooms, two 2-bedrooms and 8 1-bedrooms. If you already have those 2 2-bedrooms filled, and you've got someone in a 1-bedroom that's trying to move into a 2-bedroom, then we might have to do a unit mix adjustment, which is no problem. We could definitely do that, but just let us know. We just want to make sure that our contracts are all good, and that is just kind of an email exchange with our program coordinator, Bill. So that is our transfer policies. Any questions on transfers? Okay, so yes, okay, so hang on, we have a couple of one. I want to confirm if they're still, okay, you got that one. What if they want a 2-bedroom, if they want to have a live-in attendant? That is absolutely acceptable. They will need to submit proof of the live-in aide or the live-in attendant. They need to have, the HUD handbook says that they have to have verification of that, which could be through a doctor's note or whatever kind of outpatient services that they're receiving. They would need a note to confirm that, that they have that live-in aide, which can sometimes be a family member. But yeah, if you have any questions about live-in aides, let us know. I know that can be kind of an interesting topic, and it can get kind of different if they're like sharing a bank account. I know we've run into that before. But yeah, if they are in a 1-bedroom and they want to live in aide, yes, they can upgrade to a 2-bedroom, but they're going to need the verification and the proof of that live-in aide. I have a resident who wants to add her 18-year-old daughter. Could we do that? Yes, you can add the 18-year-old daughter. You would need to consider her income. So just keep in mind, or maybe even just remind the tenant that adding a household member that's an adult, especially, could change their income to where their rent portion could change. And basically, if their rent portion is at or above the fair market rent, then they would lose that 811 subsidy. But yes, you can add the 18-year-old daughter. And if they need to upgrade to a larger size unit, just let us know. And we can just give you the thumb. You don't need our approval, but you'll just get our thumbs up, and then we'll just ask to make sure that you confirm the new unit number. When are we expecting to let the current resident know to reapply to transfer to a bigger size unit to another property, my company? Okay, so this person, their property only has 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. And they have a tenant there that their family, I think right now they're in a 2-bedroom, and that is just too small for the size of their family. This is where it gets into a sticky situation because the property doesn't have a larger size unit for them. So what this household is going to end up having to do in order to upgrade to a larger size unit is to move to a different development. Right now, we've got closed wait lists in certain areas, so that person specifically might not have a whole lot of choice right now. For this person, I think that wait lists in their area aren't opening soon, maybe in a couple of months. But that person is going to have to reapply to the program just because the development does not have that size unit for them, unfortunately. So I know that's one of the sticky things about 811, because we are project-based, we're super limited when it comes to what unit sizes we have to offer folks who originally could fit in maybe a 1-bedroom and now are needing a 3-bedroom. Great question though. Let's see. I want to make sure I got it all. Can we deny a transfer request due to housekeeping issues? That is a good question. I would want to kind of know what the transfer is for. If they have an added household member, that might be kind of different. If they're wanting to live closer to the dog park or something like that, then you could possibly say, we'll grant this request once we, have your unit, because, you could always send lease violations for having a trashed unit or for housekeeping issues in that unit. But that's a good question. That's kind of a gray area that I don't know if there's a specific right or wrong answer to. Yeah. Okay, I'll pause on that because now it is officially at the halfway mark. I think that is it for my slide. So I will go ahead and pass it over to Catherine. But any more questions that you'll have, I will be answering them in the questions chat. So feel free if you have any transfer questions or damage fund questions. I will get to those soon. Okay. Catherine, I'm going to try to change you to the presenter now.
All good. Can y'all hear me okay? That's the other thing too. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me okay. And now I got to figure out, I'm going to switch screens. And you're able to see the screen that I'm sharing?
I can.
You can. Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah, like I said, we are learning all of this as we go. So yes, and also too, just to kind of follow up with what she's talking about with the question with the not being able to transfer for housekeeping, I just kind of wanted to add, if you have a policy in place regarding that you don't allow transfers for housekeeping, and it's strictly just that, like she said, she just wants to move somewhere because the grass is greener on that side of the building. I am not sure. To me, I would say no, you don't have to if it's a housekeeping issue, just as long as that policy is going to be applied consistently, so that would be for any other resident in that same scenario. But again, compliance wise, I don't know, compliance is looking at transferring and seeing why you transferred them. Again, just making sure it's done consistently. So yes, thank you, Caitlin, for all of that. I know transfers brings up lots of questions because I think internal transfers tend to be forgotten about for 811 residents, and people don't feel that they can transfer at all. You can, it's just a little more involved, a little more with the process on that. So kind of, I wanted to cover, so those of you attended last session that we had, we definitely went over failure to recertify, termination of assistance, and we're still seeing some issues with that. So we want to really make sure that we cover that again. We do have another little process in place to address the issue, so we definitely wanted to bring that back up. But this slide here, this is taken directly from our 4350 7-6, and it's overview of annual recertification procedures. And again, it talks about, and I'll just kind of read it, I think it'd be best if we can discuss. So it is the owner's responsibility to process all recertifications in a timely manner, HUD headquarters will terminate a certification if a new recertification is not submitted within 15 months of the previous year's recertification anniversary date. HUD has instructed contract administrators, which we are kind of a quasi contract administrator, but to terminate assistance payments due to an owner if an annual recertification has not been completed and submitted through tracks within 15 months after the previous year's anniversary date. So again, we don't do that. An official contract administrator would actually be someone like Southwest Housing Compliance Corporation, but they oversee just Section 8 contracts as far as I'm understand that. But Tracks is actually the one that's doing that. So what's happening is that 15th month, you all are requesting payment subsidy for that resident, and Tracks is saying nope, because we don't have a current annual recertification on file, so we are not going to submit payment to you. And so that's what's happening. Once the new certification is processed, owners must follow the guidance in paragraph 7-8 for determining the effective date for the changes in TTP or total tenant payment, tenant rent, and assistance payment when the recertification is delayed. So definitely review that chapter going over if it is an increase in rent, and if it was failure for the resident to come in and certify in a timely manner, then they would not get that full 30-day notice of a rent increase. But of course, if it's decreasing, you can do that immediately. So definitely review for those procedures to ensure that the timing and the effective date of that certification is done properly. And so let me see if I can slide through. Hang on one sec. Of course, now that it's up and I don't know how to move through. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we have looked at this and we really are trying to attack it from multiple approaches. We're doing a proactive approach, and we're starting a more reactive approach, if you will. So proactively, as we discussed last time, that Bill, our program coordinator, is pulling a report 120 days prior to when residents need to recertify. And all that we're doing is just taking the move-in date of the residents we have every month and just projecting 120 days out and sending an email to our referral agents to say, hey, you have these clients that have a recertification that's due in 120 days. And we would like to just ensure that you're informed of that. We send the notification checklist that details all the documentation that would be required for that process. We also send the HUD fact sheet that details how the rent is determined. And again, knowing that they may not fully know how that process is going to work, but if they can be another resource, another person of outreach for the resident to contact to say, hey, how does this process work? Why are they asking for certain documentation? It allows that person to be there and to be assistance to them. But not only are we sending that to our referral agents, we have started sending that to our properties. And we're going to start doing that every month as well. And this is strictly a courtesy email. Please do not solely rely on this email, because it will not keep you from getting non-compliance. Just want to know that. Again, it's just a courtesy, because what may be in our system may not be fully up to date for whatever reason. We may show somebody that was terminated because they did fall off their voucher, and maybe we haven't updated it back into our system that they had assistance reinstated. So there are going to be instances where we may not have that up to date. We're doing the best we can to make sure that is done. But again, please do not solely rely just on the email, but we are going to start sending them to properties regarding that. Before I move on to our other more reactionary type approaches, I do see there's some questions. I kind of just wanted to see what we have there. Do we have anything? I don't know if we have anything coming. Yes. So one is, what is a tenant has been terminated by HUD and they want to transfer another unit? Do they go back to the wait list, or can they? Okay, some of the transfer ones I'll probably leave for Caitlin towards the end, and we can again kind of cover those here in just a minute. But I'm going to see if there's anything as far as with the recertification process. So new to the 11 program, how will we know if the tenant is no longer qualified through your program? So we do nothing as far as saying a household does not qualify for a program, other than maybe they were over income. But again, that determination is going to be made by you at the development. We don't make that determination here because we don't review income. We don't do any of that. unless it's through a monitoring review that we find a household did not qualify at move-in. They never should have moved in for that very reason because, like I said, because of income. That may be the only time we would say, okay, this household doesn't qualify. But most of the time, particularly in this instance, it is because if they have fallen off the voucher, it is because they have not recertified. And to me, that is the only time that they're ever going to be terminated off of a voucher. And again, we are not part of that process. That is all done through Blueprint Solutions or through tracks, if you will, which is like the transmitting vehicle for the 5059s to HUD. So that's when that would be done. So definitely review your voucher every month. And I'm assuming, and I don't know exactly what's submitted from Blueprint, but I want to see, you guys should get a statement, I'm assuming, something of the like that's going to detail that, hey, this person, you requested this amount in your subsidy payment, and this is what was approved. So definitely look there. And if you see a TM on that, that means that they've been terminated. So I'm hoping I answered that question well. The next one is, what do you do if the referral agent is non-responsive? If you have that referral agent information, first off, and you're able to contact them, you're not getting any response from them, reach back out to us because there may be kind of more of a point of contact that we can contact within that agency. If not, we can reach out to another referral agent there and say, hey, is this person still with this agency? If not, can I have this person referred to you? We'll try to get that communication going if you're not getting a response from that referral agent. If you don't have the referral agent information, contact us and we can try to pull that information up. We have all of that for each of our residents. So know that. Yes. Okay, I'm shaking her head like, yep, we've got it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Catherine, we have that poll as well. Did you want me to launch
Yes.
that real quick now that we're talking about this? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, so the poll going out is let me make sure with the questions there. Yeah, so the question of the poll is, have you had any tenants removed from the tenant voucher? And again, this is kind of just going through and realizing, okay, it was done, we did it, or we realized they were taken off the voucher. Caitlin, you guys completely disappeared. Now I can't see anything.
Gotcha. Okay, and I was gonna say, it's like I can interpret for you well. So this is completely anonymous, so please answer as honestly. If you don't know what a voucher is, that is okay. I'm still wrapping my head around what that is exactly. So it looks like about 33% of people have said yes, and then about 70% of people, it's fluctuating, so sorry if my math is wrong. 70% said no, about 30% said yes, and then we got about 5% that's asking what a voucher is.
Yes, no.
I'll close that.
No, oh, there you are. Okay, cool. Okay. Yes, so when it's closed, yes, you guys disappear, and then you come back after it's closed. Okay, awesome.
We're learning.
So, but as you can see, we still have a pretty good chunk of folks. We have a third of the people that are participating today that have had somebody fall off the voucher. So that is a concern because at the end of the day, and I know too, there's been high staff turnover. There, again, like I think I mentioned it last time, the previous management company, is it going to hand over this really pretty handy dandy binder to you and say, okay, here's how we can smoothly transition into the development with everyone's recertification stuff? That doesn't happen. So it does make it difficult. So trying to, make that process as smooth as possible. People do fall off. They just fall through the cracks, unfortunately. But then it's our residents get the brunt of that, and it's not fair for them, not knowing, having a development, maybe not actually knowing what's going on. So we definitely just really want to stay on top of that the best way we can. Okay, so I don't see there's any more questions with that. I'm going to move on to more of our reactionary type approach, if you will, for this. And again, if there's any questions regarding these two processes, let me know. Let me click on it. There we go. So what we are doing now is more of a program. Again, Bill, program coordinator, is started notifying properties if a resident is terminated from a voucher due to failure to recertify. So every month he can check, as he does all the vouchering activities for our program. He can see, and he can pretty much estimate if it's been about 15 months since this person has recertified, they're showing as terminated. And I know I've been copied on a couple of them already, so I know he's definitely started that. But it is an email, and he's just asking for a status. saying, okay, are you guys in the process with this resident? Have they moved out? We need an update for this resident. But what is new, and that we have discussed with our compliance division as of last week, that same notification of someone that has fallen off the voucher is being sent to our compliance division. Compliance division is going to start issuing non-compliance to developments that have folks that show that they have fallen off the voucher. And how this is being worked is that we already have a finding in place for failure to recertify, and I think it's specific for 811. I can't remember. It's been a little bit since I've been in compliance, but they are going to be using that same finding. So not only is it can be issued during a monitoring review, but it will be anytime that Bill submits this report, if you will, to compliance division. My assumption is going to be that it's going to be just a simple letter. They're going to ask for corrective action. You will be given a 90-day corrective action period, just as you would during a monitoring review. And it could be as simple as saying, yes, we're in the process. Here's what's going on. We anticipate to submit a certification 5059 on this date. Or it definitely could be that, hey, we've submitted all 3 notices for this resident. We have received 0 response. We have reached out to referral agent and maybe haven't received a response either. So we're doing everything that we can. It's not working. So we're going to issue a notice to vacate, and that would be sufficient as well. Because we do, like I said, this has been an issue and we're seeing it more and more. And again, our residents are the ones that are negatively impacted. But it's also difficult for you guys as well, because if you're not getting the response from the residents, you're doing everything you need to. And you also need to get subsidy for that unit, and you want to get paid, and we absolutely understand that. So hopefully with all of these approaches to attacking this issue in place, that we could start seeing less and less issues with it, but hopefully it will also bring more questions to us from all of you, should you have questions, and we are here to assist in any way possible with that. I want to say compliance, we haven't started, I can't remember if Bill sent the notice or the report to compliance this month, but definitely starting in March. So March 1st, you may start seeing more of those. Any questions on that? It's kind of quiet. I figured that might bring quite a few, but we're good. Yay. Okay. Good. In my understanding too, and again, we haven't really solidified what that letter is going to look like coming from compliance, but I would assume that it's also going to affect previous participation reviews, as any non-compliance would. So I think it would be very crucial to ensure that that's responded to in a timely manner and corrected in that corrective action period to avoid that. So now we're getting some. Okay. So one of the questions, will we lose payment for this resident? So if the resident does not recertify on their anniversary date, yes, you will lose subsidy, because then they will go back up to the market rate, or I'm assuming this is going to be the 60% rent or tax credit rent for that unit. So yes, you would. Now, of course, there's a whole other process, and if you definitely review Chapter 7, it will cover this. But should you lose subsidy for that, you would have to reinstate the subsidy for that household, which would be an IC or initial certification. And that would be done. And then you can retroactively apply that and then get back the months that were lost there and covering that. So it is a little more of a process to do. But yes, you would lose subsidy, but you can have it reinstated. We'd also like for you to notify us before you try to reinstate their assistance, just to ensure we've got funding for that resident. So definitely, if you have any questions on that, definitely feel free to contact us. The next one is, I'd like to receive detail of vacant payments and how it is working. I may reach out to you just outside of this presentation, and I can discuss that with you with vacancy payments. We don't really come across them that often, but that's not to say that they can't be applied. But yes, but I'll definitely get with you. So Angie, I will do that. So thanks for asking though.
And I, just real quick, I can actually probably answer that, hopefully in a nutshell. So for vacancy payments, we can only pay 60 days of vacancy. The vacancy clock starts when the unit is make ready or actually available for occupancy. Vacancy payments are only for units we're actively trying to fill with 811 tenants. So that's if you said we've got unit 202 available and you and I have been going back and forth on trying to fill it for the past 60 days. It's only going to be for that specific unit. And then vacancy claims are processed through Blueprint. So confirm with us that the unit is being returned. Typically, you know, I'll send you an email that says we return or release this unit back to you to fill with a non-811 tenant. And then you'll say, and then you'll contact Ann Hittner, and I'll post that in the chat real quick so that everyone has that information. You're going to contact Ann, you're going to request a vacancy claim checklist, and then she's going to send you that information, and then it's basically just between you and Ann after that point. So that is vacancies kind of in a nutshell, but I'll post all of that in the chat, and hopefully it transfers over well.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, yeah, I feel like we don't get them very often, but yeah, it can. And then of course you have during lease up, and then during, you know, once you've already got the development occupied, that sort of thing. So yes, thank you for that, Caitlin. The next one is what is the required documentation per the 811 program from the owner to the resident? And Kathy, I'm gonna ask, like, is there something specific that you're looking for? We do have an 811 checklist that is submitted with an on-site review that I can maybe provide you if that's what you're asking for, or something general. I can get that to you. If so, let me know. If not, if it's something more specific, let me know either way. Yay, you don't qualify for sure. Okay, awesome, perfect, good. So there's no other questions as far as just what's being discussed with the current approaches for failure to recertify. I will move on. So should you get this process and you're like, nope, we have to issue a notice to vacate to this resident because they're not responding, we cannot get them recertified, you can issue a notice to vacate. And this is taken from our 10 Sec and 8.3 L8, I think. It just states that we need to be notified 3 days prior to issuing that notice to vacate. One, we want to ensure that it's compliant. Anybody that's using TAAs, Blue Moon, probably application for affordable housing, that notice is not going to be sufficient. And the reason being is it refers to the TA lease, which is not applicable to our 811 residents. And it doesn't quite include all the verbiage that's required by the HUD handbook for that notice. So we do have those notices on our website, and I'll post it on the next slide where you can obtain those. But we need a copy of that notice when you notify us 3 days prior to our 811 info box. We will review that. If it's compliant, great. We'll let you know. Go ahead and submit to the resident. If not, we will ask you to update that notice prior to submitting and go from there. But yes, please do let us know should you have to issue a notice to vacate. And then upon move out, so the other part of this in our regulation is that upon move out, the owner must submit a move out disposition to the department to ensure proper processing of the security deposit for HUD handbook. We also want to see that as well for that very reason, just to ensure that that's done properly. Any questions on notices to vacate? Nope, I think we're good. Yay. Okay, good. Awesome. Moving on, we've got about 10 minutes. So yes, so here is our link to the complaint notices that we have, and of course we have them in English and in Spanish. If they need to be translated in any other language, we can do that as well. Just let us know. But these two we put them together. They should be form fillable, but let us know if not, or if you have any issues accessing those. And then I do see one. Is this also for notice to vacate for payments? Yes. So if they are not paying, so for non-payment of rent, yes, you can absolutely do that. There should be a section in that notice that details if it is for non-payment of rent, that you list the date and the amount that amount was calculated. Put that information in there. That does need to be included for non-payment of rent. But yes, if it's for lease violations or non-payment of rent, either way, those notices are applicable to that. So good question there. But yeah, that is all that I had that I wanted to cover. And again, if we don't have any other questions, are there any other general questions, anything that you guys have been dying to ask or talk about that we can discuss? We can do that during this time.
Thank you guys so much for all of the questions. We're new to GoToWebinar, so we'll try to be better at displaying the questions so we're not just talking to you guys. But yeah,
Kind of quiet.
feel free. Did you get the one about, is there also a notice to vacate for payments? It would just
Yes.
be the
Yeah.
same one. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It would just be, the same one for that.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. We'll just linger here for a minute or so for more questions. At the end of this webinar, if I can figure out how to shut it down, you should get a quick survey question. It's just one question, and it's just what topics do you want us to cover at our next peer-to-peer? Likely that will happen in April. We usually do these every other month, just to allow time for folks to accumulate more issues and questions for us to go over. But yeah, it'll be just an open question. So any topics you want us to go over, if you want us to spend more time on the damage funds, if you want us to like walk you through how to fill out the damage sheet, we could do something like that. Okay, so here's a couple more questions coming in.
Yes. And Caitlin, do you want me to read that one, or do you want to read that one?
Yes, will you read that one?
Sure, no problem. Yes. So what if the resident needs help filling out the recertification paperwork? Do we help them fill out the forms? You absolutely can. However, I would put something in the file in case you're filling out some of that paperwork for them as well. I would just put a notation in the file saying we assisted with filling out this paperwork. But yes, you can assist with that. Or if you want to try and reach out to the referral agent, you can do that as well and have them ask if they want to assist in that process. Either way, but yes, you definitely can help them with that. And then the next one is, who at 811 is a contact for new referral list? This is definitely probably more of a Caitlin question.
Yes, that is yours truly. Unless I'm on vacation, then you'll contact Catherine, but I think am able to send this to all. So if you are trying to get units filled and you need a list of applicants, reach out to me. You can contact me at my personal email, or you can contact me at the 811info@tdhca.state.tx.us. That is our general inbox. Catherine and I both have access to that inbox, but that's kind of just where we keep the big hub, because that allows Catherine to go in case I'm not there. So that's going to be yours truly. So if you have exhausted your wait list of the folks that we've given you before and you need more applicants, reach out to me and I will get that to you within a couple of days. And yes, and I would ask, and I'll just kind of reiterate about the referrals that I give. If you have like a phone number that is not working and it's a dead end phone number, you can move on right away to that next referral. I know some folks try to give it a little time or try in a couple days. Maybe the phone number has been reinstated after a couple days. That just means that person has moved on, and our wait lists right now are super old. And so we're really working to get a more fresher wait list. So that's just my 2 cents advice on the referrals that we give. Okay, sorry, I don't want to take up too much time for other questions that we have.
No, you're good. I'm gonna say the next one may even be a good one for just for the 811 residents that have.
Yep, that would be perfect. And we have a checklist. So I did upload our PowerPoint today. So that is under the handouts tab. I was able to upload that while Catherine was presenting, so I snuck it in there. But if you want the PowerPoint, that is in there as well. And then I might be able to chunk in the file checklist if I can find it as well, so that you guys have a copy of that too. Okay. We have been getting 811 applicants that completed their application with the caseworker 2 to 3 years old, but now they are non-qualified full-time students or over income. Do we need to advise you when denying applicants? Yes, so notify us if they are over income or if they are a full-time student. Just put it in the quick list whenever you give me the results of the applicants. If someone has been rejected due to criminal, credit, or rental history, and they've got like that leasing desk denial letter, we will need a copy of that. So you can send that to me in an email, or you can upload it to the portal. We'll just need that for our records to show the proof that they were denied for those reasons. That's a really good question. Can a resident add multiple people to their lease, an adult, child, and grandchildren? They sure can, as long as they fit in that unit size and they're not going over that standard occupancy size. And then and then as long as that doesn't put them over the income limit. So adding an adult that has income could put them over the income limits. Adding a child that maybe receives child support payments, that could also put them over the limit, things like that. So the short answer is yes, but just be wary that adding those members could put them over the income limits. And basically what that means is if their rent portion becomes at or over the fair market rent for that unit, then they don't need 811 subsidy anymore, basically, because they're paying that full rent. And then they would just, their termination would their assistance would dissolve or be terminated. Okay.
Yes. And something I want to say about that too, and I don't know if y'all mentioned it earlier, I was doing questions and I kind of heard it, but I didn't hear everything that was said. So if it isn't just an adult child or an adult dependent, so let's say they are over 18 or 19 moving in, after move-in, they would not be able to move in unless they're going to perform the functions of a live-in aid. So I just wanted to make sure that that's clear. And remember that, again, I don't know if we already discussed that earlier, but just to make sure that's noted for adult dependents, it's a little different for them after move-in. So yeah.
Right.
Okay, good.
Okay, awesome. Can we claim a down unit? Sorry, I'm getting through y'all's questions. Oh, okay. Can we claim a down unit? We have a unit that caught on fire, the resident moved out, and we have not been able to move our next 811 applicant due to the major damage. Yes, if you guys need a break from Section 811 because you don't have that unit available yet, then we'll just let y'all keep that. We're not going to bug you about that unit. We'll just quote return it back to you so that you have time to fix it, and then just let us know whenever you have another unit that becomes available or something like that. But our units float, so we can fill any 50% or 60% unit. It doesn't have to be unit 202, you know what I mean? You can change that to not be a designated 811 unit. That's a really good question. When exactly will the wait list open for Dallas? To the person that just asked this question, your wait list will be opening on Friday. But other properties in Dallas they're not quite there yet. We still have a lot of applicants on the wait list for Dallas. So I'm thinking it's going to be in maybe a couple more months down the road. We are at 11 o'clock. I can probably stick around for another 10 minutes or so to just answer questions, but of course, feel free. Thank you guys so much who did attend for the full hour. But if anyone wants to linger around and still continue to ask questions, I am free to do so for a little bit more. Let's see what the next question is. Yeah.
Yes, thank y'all for attending. It's been awesome.
Yes. This has been really great. Are we required to send all lease violations for approval prior to serving the tenant? No. Lease violations are not a requirement for us to review. It's a courtesy. If you have the time to send us a lease violation, that's great. We'll do what we can to try and pass that along to that person's referral agent or caseworker, but it's not a requirement for lease violations. The only thing that we require are notices to vacate and notices of non-renewal. We did receive income from the damage when it happened. Okay. I pulled up the website. Which form would I use for non-payment notice to vacate? Okay, awesome. Catherine sent a link for that.
Yeah, and it'll be the same for either one, non-payment or just, again, if it's release violations, either one. So you can still use the same one.
Okay. Did you see the one? So when sending out notice to vacates, how many days should we state? 3, 7, 10, 15, or 30? I believe the answer is 30. Is that right?
It generally is going to be 30. Yes. So in the 40 to 50 in Chapter 8 for termination, if it's material noncompliance, it is 30 days. But if it's for criminal or drug abuse or something of that nature, I think you can shorten that time frame. I want to say it doesn't really detail other than for issues for material noncompliance, and it will give you those noted there. But if it's for non-payment, I believe it'd be for 30 days notice. But yes, good question, because there's a little different. Tax credit, I know you can just do like a 3-day notice to vacate, and that's it. But yeah, if you can, just send it to us too, and we can probably try to evaluate for you at that time as well. So, yeah. And then, yeah, I see the next one for the 811 file setup cover sheet. The checklist essentially would be kind of like your cover sheet for that, but we don't have anything specific. But we can send that up. I'll put that file in here for everyone, and that way you guys can look at that. But yeah, but not anything specific.
Perfect.
And we don't have it on our website just yet. We're getting ready to post that. But yeah, so definitely look for that coming up soon.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
This is a really good question. Do you have a list of what fees can or cannot be charged to 811 participants? That's a really awesome question. Application fees, there's no application fee for new applicants that are coming in to apply for a vacant unit. So Section 811 applicants do not get an application fee. And there's no late fees for Section 811 tenants, which I think a lot of people don't know. There's an old HUD notice that was posted a couple years ago, and kind of buried in that notice, it says that late fees cannot be charged to 811 tenants. You can still, issue lease violations or notice to vacates for non-payment of rent, but you cannot charge a late fee to 811 participants. And that's basically it, just those two fees, the application fee and late fees. Everything else you can charge. If they have damages to the unit, you can charge them for the damages, things like that.
And so, yeah, Natasha, I see yours regarding for the adult child. So yes, if you have an adult dependent moving in after move-in, so this member was not added to they didn't come in at move-in, so it's done afterwards. For 811 only, that they cannot move in unless they are going to perform the functions of a live-in aid. That is the only way an adult child can move in. If you look at housing notice, I think it's 13-24, that details that, because that particular notice is specific for 811. But it states in there that, yeah, only adult children after move-in that want to move to the unit must be can only be a live-in aid. So hopefully that clarifies that a little bit for you. And then Kate, I'll let you get that one from Brittany about the.
Do we need to wait for a response to confirm denial letter in order for us to close it on our side? I might be confused about your question. I'm just curious to know what so this asks, do we need to wait for a response to confirm denial letter in order for us to close it on our side? Just curious to know who the response would be from. So yeah, if you can clarify your question, I'm sorry. Okay, so someone asked about NSF fees. So that's like the insufficient fund fees that folks get if you are trying to charge, if you charge rent from a bank account and that bank account has been shut down, or maybe it's, overdrawn or something. That is a good question. I am not quite sure about NSF fees. I believe that would be chargeable. You could give that fee to 811 tenants, but there would be you can't penalize them for the late fees caused by the NSF, if that makes sense. But that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one very often. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. With NSF fees, you can charge an NSF fee, but it is only on the second time that check bounces, and it is only the amount that the bank charges. And so in Chapter 6 in lease section, I think it's lease and occupancy section, it will also detail some of those charges that you can and cannot charge towards 811 residents. So that's also in there, but that'll be in Chapter 6. But yes, you can do NSF, but again, it's only the second time that happens and what the bank charges for that. Yeah, good question.
Okay, I want to address this one, and I can share the link for this as well. So why can't we charge late fees? What makes them different from the rest of our residents? HUD said so is basically the short answer. So there is a HUD notice that I'll send here. It's notice 2013-24. And like I said before, it's kind of buried down in there, but basically it says that anyone receiving 811 subsidy cannot be charged a late fee. So it's just, I think it's a way for HUD to kind of help out these low income folks. So it's just a HUD rule, basically, is the short answer. Yeah, lost track of, okay, here we go. This person asks, will you still be coming to do an in-person training? Catherine is doing in-person trainings. I think she's got a couple on her agenda.
Yes, and Anna, and I'm thinking your name looks familiar, so I'm wondering if you were from Peak. Yes, I'm still coming tomorrow, so I sent the invite out just so that way. If not, we are doing in-person training. It's something too, and I wish I kind of noted before everybody started kind of coming off towards the end. We're going to try and start doing regional on-site trainings as well. So not only are we going to do them at the developments like we had started, but we're going to start doing having one in, like, say, Dallas area or San Antonio or Austin area. So we're going to do that as well. So yes, we want to get to you guys on site. We're definitely we're continuing that, and I'm still scheduling those, but we're also going to start kind of doing a regional 811 training, which should be good. So keep eyes and ears out for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
this person clarified their question. Okay, thank you so much. And then real quick, someone said, I love this question and answer. I hope y'all love it too, because this is really great, and we definitely want to do this more often. So thank you guys again for all the questions. So this person asks, okay, so they clarified their question. Do we wait for a response from TDHCA to confirm the denial letter in order for us to close it on our side? Basically asking if they've denied the applicant and they submit the denial letter to the portal, do we need to wait for y'all to confirm it? No, you do not need to wait for us. Go ahead and move on to the next person. We're always on the side of efficiency, so you don't have to wait for us to say, yeah, we got the letter or anything like that. Go ahead and move on to that next applicant. That's a really good question. Does the late fee apply to regular voucher holders? I would assume regular voucher holders. Does that mean like non-811 tenants?
Yeah, I would think probably like with Section 8 vouchers. That I want to say is no, it would not, but I would confirm with whatever housing entity you receive the voucher from to ask them to ensure. I want to say it's going to be no, because I think even for Section 8, I don't think you can apply late fees for that program either. But yeah, I would definitely check with the issuing voucher into the voucher. Yeah, whoever issued your voucher for that question.
Yeah, that's a good. We get a lot of questions about Section 8, which like horrible naming scheme. We should not have been named Section 811, which is so close to a completely different program. So it's tough. Sometimes we're not quite sure about Section 8 because, of course, they have all their rules that you got to keep up with. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay. Oh, completion certificates on some of the trainings that you're giving, Catherine. I don't know. Are you giving completion certificates?
I am not for the property ones. I know that's something I discussed with compliance of doing for our regional trainings, but that may be something that we can do as well, just so you guys have that. And I think it would be good to have, just so, yeah, you receive that training. Because what I've realized too that works best for the on-site trainings is that using compliance as 811 training. And so that to me really, it covers everything, and it really also helps bring up more questions about the program versus just kind of covering just the hot topics for development. And so, yes, I can definitely look into that. Again, I don't think it would go towards any credits that you could earn with any of your housing certifications or certifications with like COS or anything like that. But it's definitely something you could get from us. So yeah, I'll look into that. That's a good question.
I just skimmed this HUD notice that I posted that for, and it is specifically for Section 811 PRA. So that leads me to believe that, yes, you can charge late fees to Section 8 residents. So you should be good. Yeah, that notice is only for Section 811.
That's true.
Yeah.
And plus too, I forgot to, with Section 8, they have the whole, if on the 5th day or the 6th day, you can charge $5, and then after that, it's $1 every day thereafter. That may be what it is too. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've been in Section 8, but yeah.
Is it possible or legal to require electronic payment for tenants' rent? I believe you have to give the tenant the option to pay rent by check or what are those called?
Money order.
The
Money order, is that
yes.
the other?
Yes, you cannot require folks to pay electronically. There are folks that don't know how to operate technology. So, you know, you could have someone that needs a reasonable accommodation to not have to pay online, that kind of thing. So you have to allow folks to be able to pay in person with other methods aside from online. Yes, I think that question came up a couple of weeks ago as well. Okay, well, we'll take a couple more. I would hate, I probably signed Catherine up for 15 more minutes than she wanted. So
No,
okay, I was like, we'll do a couple more questions because I think we could go all day asking 8-11 questions. But again, we'll compile all of these and send them out to you guys. And if you have anything else that you want, feel free to email us as well. Can I attend the training you're given to companies in the area? Kevin's doing a handful of on-site trainings. She may or may not have already come to your development already. But yeah, I don't know. Catherine, you probably should speak on that more than I should.
No, it's it. No, and Kathy, I want to say I know we were just out at y'all's with Rice, but yes, I want to say that you could probably ask, maybe ask if others can join. I know the next one I'm doing tomorrow is in Dallas, but if we can have another one in the Austin area, I'm sure we will. Because like I said, we had 25 different management companies respond to the request for those on-site trainings. So there's definitely more opportunity for more in Austin. So we'll definitely check, and I'll let you know if we can do that. But yeah, because I've had that before too, because we've had maybe just one person from a property that would want to attend. Well, if it's just one, they felt like I wouldn't come out just for them. So then could they just join somebody else's? So, and I don't see why not. So yeah, so I'll get back with you on that for sure. E-money orders, interesting.
I wanted to show our contact info real quick in case y'all don't
have
gotcha. It. Okay, sorry, back to questions.
I didn't know there was a thing as
e-money. Yes, well, e-money orders are acceptable. This person was asking if it's illegal or out of the program rules to require electronic payments. So e-money orders are acceptable, online payments, direct deposits and things like that. Yeah, you can do those. But you have to allow folks to be able to pay in different ways that are not technology based, basically. Yeah.
And Natasha, on yours, I'm doing an on-site review, or not a review, but an on-site training for tomorrow. So yeah, we'll definitely send out peer-to-peer. We'll send it just like we did for this one, notification for it. But yeah, the next one's just going to be an on-site training. So.
Yes, yeah. a little more intense than this.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we'll have another peer-to-peer next month instead of waiting until March, because we have all these awesome questions. So, okay, well, I will cut us off there because it has definitely slowed down. Thank you to everyone who has submitted questions. This was really awesome. We love and enjoy doing these. It prevents us and yourselves from having to email back and forth and having delays. So thank you guys so much for participating. And then I believe after I close this out, you should get a prompt on your screen to answer the question about what you want us to cover next time we meet. And yeah, I think that's about it. We'll have an FAQ. This will be on YouTube soon. Yeah, okay. I think that is it. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. And then again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us via phone or email. We'll be here. Okay. If I can figure out how to end this webinar, I will. Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank y'all. Take care.